You playing the Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels video game?
Mark.
1998's Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels would introduce us to Jason Statham. At that point, he was a professional diver and model and part-time football player. This movie, however, would put him in the public eye and launch his career as a successful action star. Now, since then, he's appeared in dozens of movies, including two very successful franchises, the Expendables franchise and the Fast and Furious franchise. Now, I'm not going to say he's a great actor, but he is very good at what he does, playing tough, gritty, and violent characters with lots of charisma. He's had a pretty successful career over the last 25 years, too. However, 2023 was a pretty down year for him. He was in 4 films. Now, while Fast X made decent money, it definitely didn't make as much as previous movies in this franchise, and his other 3 films, Operation Fortune, Meg 2, The Trench, and Expendables 4, well, they were pretty terrible. Critical and commercial flops.
What a disaster.
Now, this past weekend saw the release of his newest movie, The Beekeeper, which is, of course, an action film. So, what do we have here? Is this a return to form and a box office success for him? Or is it continue slide and a slip later in his career? Well, before we answer that, let's talk a little bit about the plot to the movie The Beekeeper.
Let's talk.
So here we find Jason Statham playing Adam Clay. He's a loner. He rents living space from an elderly woman named Eloise Parker. Now, his is a pretty solitary lifestyle. He sticks to himself, he raises his bees, he collects their honey for sale. But Eloise has taken a liking to him and treats him well, like one of her own, which he even comments, "She's the only person who's ever taken care of me." Now, unfortunately, Eloise falls for a phishing scam on her computer, which wipes out all of her savings, including $2 million from a charity she ran. In her despondency and despair, she takes her own life. She is then found by Adam, who is arrested for her murder initially, but then when it's revealed that she kills herself, he's actually released. However, this is when we find that Adam has a past. He is a retired member of a society known as the Beekeepers. They are a secret organization of highly trained men and women who work outside of normal government oversight to keep things in balance. Devastated by the death of a person who loved him and showed him kindness, Adam goes on a mission to find those responsible and to seek vengeance. And as the stakes get higher, the further up the ladder he goes, he realizes that this, what seems like a minor phishing scam, a minor con, has ties to the highest levels of the United States government. Now, this isn't exactly what I would call a film with a deep and complicated plot. In fact, it's pretty simplistic. And I don't know what the budget for this movie was, but it clearly did not have a high special effects budget, as a couple of the scenes were pretty cheaply done CGI, looked like something you might see on a, TV show. But I gotta say, the acting is pretty solid. You have a good supporting cast. You have Felicia Rashad playing Miss Parker. You'll also find multiple award-winning actor Jeremy Irons. He plays one of the sort of villains of the film. He puts in a strong performance, as he usually does. Now, usually with a guy like him, in a movie like this, it's just about the paycheck. He kind of phones it in. But he doesn't do that here. You could tell he's giving it his best. He's enjoying the part. But I gotta give props to Statham. Now, I'll admit I'm a big fan of his. Who doesn't love a good action movie? And, we don't have as many action stars as we used to. He's really good at doing what he does best, which is, he's playing Jason Statham. There are some pretty well choreographed fight scenes here. Some of them are over the top, somewhat unbelievable, but what the hell. The Beekeeper, it's the right vehicle for him. It lets Jason Statham do Jason Statham things. It serves as an action fix for, many people who need that fix, who haven't gotten it in a while, even if the story is a bit thin. So I like The Beekeeper for all its flaws and faults. It's not a long film, it gets to the point quickly, You'll find yourself having a good time in spite of your common sense. It's kind of a throwback to the 80s and 90s action genre. It's not one of his best films, but it's definitely solid. And if you go into with the right mindset, you're really going to have a good time. And if you're a fan of Statham like I am, it's definitely worth the watch. Not necessarily in the theaters. You could wait till it comes out somewhere at streaming service, but there are definitely worse ways to spend an hour and 45 minutes. Time will tell if it's a financial success, but in terms of quality movies, it's definitely a step up from everything he did last year.
Pretty good.
Well, that's it for me this week. Tune in next week when I review, whatever I've seen in the past 7 days. So click that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, share this video with friends and enemies alike. And as I say every week, I thank you for giving me your valuable time, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.